In this project, I wanted to create a composite that really showed it was Photoshop. Something that just said it was so clearly Photoshopped, not that it was poorly done, but that in real life, you just no way you can take a photo of, in this case, a fish in a light bulb with water in it, and clouds and birds and so on. So I wanted it to look real, but that it was very clearly Photoshopped. So we started off with this light bulb photo right here, and then I took this photo of water, and then I added the fish. And then after I added the fish, I added the clouds and the birds and a sunlight to get this final composite. So I'm pretty happy with it, and it's clearly Photoshop, but it's well done. So let me show you how to do that. All right, so go back to the lessons folder, and in here we have a number 4 light bulb fish. So in this we have the assets, and we're gonna start with the lightbulb.jpg. So just double click that, and it'll open it up in Photoshop, which you see here. Let's just drag it in here. All right. Zoom out, and we can see what we have. Just a light bulb. So to start, we actually are going to outline this, but this time we'll use the pen tool. Perfect occasion to use it. So, pen tool. If you're completely unfamiliar, I'm going to explain it from scratch. In using the pen tool, so just so if you have no familiarity with it, you click and drag to create Bezier curves. Which basically you see how this behaves. These anchors will push the line in a certain way. It was originally made by a man named Monsieur Bezier, who designed cars. So you have these anchors, and you can change them after. So here I can grab it and change it, and if I make it shorter or wider, see how this behaves. So these are these curves. All right, let's go ahead and delete these. So in outlining this light bulb, one thing that's kind of important is leave at least 1 full pixel out. I don't want to outline exactly on it. I want to take a little bit more so that you don't see any of the light bulb coming through. Okay, zoom in to about 200%. I usually like to start on an edge that's a little harsh, a little angular like this. So I do one here, small, click and drag right here, small. There you go. Problem is, I'm too close to the line. I want to be a little bit out. Okay, and same here. All right. Sometimes this takes a little bit of practice, and you can always come back and adjust. See, I'm like, oh, I want this to be a little like this. I want this to be a little like this. So let's get the main shape first, and then we'll worry about the detail in our second pass. Okay. So try to get as few anchors as possible for a smooth outline. That always helps. I'll just do this for now. And so something like this. Something like this. And here we go. We'll come and clean it up after. Something like this. All right, and in here, try to be kind of on it. See here, I was missing. I want to put another point here just by dragging it over. You see the little plus, click it, and then I can move that point. So that's nice. And just close the loop by clicking on the last one. You'll get a little circle that shows up there. All right, now I'm going to go around and edit it to make sure I'm really not at any point. Oops, I don't want to do that. I don't want at any point, I don't want it to be on in the light bulb. So I'm going to push that out a little bit. This needs to be maybe a little shortened, like so. Still want to keep the shape intact. Just want it to be slightly out. Okay. Something like this. I can add a point here and just bring it maybe a little closer. I feel like I'm cheating when I do that, just because I'd like to have as few points as possible. So something like this. Like I said, it's more important in this process. I really don't want any points. I don't want any of the light bulb to be picked up. So try to keep that in mind. And point here. Okay, here. And let's add a point here and just bring that in. Something like so. That. Alright, and here we need to add one and bring it out. And this one we can just stretch this point and it'll curve nicely. And this point a little too, and then bring this out to here, bring this in like so, and I feel like we're pretty good. You get this last point right here, okay, and this goes in the middle. Okay, I say we're good. All right, once that's done, you see in here paths, it created a work path. Double click it, call it bulb, okay? It created a vector path, all right? So what we're gonna do now is command click this, it made a selection, and we actually want to make a copy of this part of the bulb. So go to layer, new layer via copy, command J, and let's call this bulb, and this light bulb. Okay, so this is the whole background, and this is just the bulb. Okay, and we're going to use this for later, but for now, this is good. So that is an outline with the pen tool, and next we're going to add some water in here.